Very good morning, friends. Today, we'll be discussing about a formal letter, the format of a formal letter, and that is letter to the editor. Letter to the editor means we are writing to a newspaper agency. Okay? Now, I must add before we go on that you all have been writing this formal letter, that is letter to the editor, since I think, if I'm not mistaken, since Form 9 or Form 8. So, when we had this interactive class in which we discussed about this letter to the editor, I was very happy because most of you were to the point with the format and what should be mentioned, what should be written, what are the do's and the don'ts. So I was really very happy with your batch because most of you were of it. So the interactive class was there, and then immediately, as I had promised, I had sent a format for this letter to the editor along with some samples. So today we'll just have a discussion on this letter to the editor. Okay. So first and foremost, it is a formal letter. Now in formal letter, what happens? First, we write the senders. If I'm writing a letter, then I'm the sender. Okay, so we write the address of the sender first, but we don't write the name. Why? Because at the bottom, the sender only will be signing it. So it will be a repetition. Okay, so the first you start with the sender's address, just the address, not the name. Then comes the date, on which date you are writing. Now for your exams when you get, it will be the date of your examination or examination date. Say supposing you have your English examination on the 26th of October, say for example, and you get a question on a letter to the editor. So the date that you will mention is 26th October 2020. And again, as I mentioned before also in my writing classes, skill classes, the dates are always alphanumeric. Always alphanumeric. 26th October, 2020. Should not be 26.10.2020. No, alphanumeric. Then comes the receiver's ad. That is 2. 2 denotes you are sending it to this particular person. So my dear friends, don't forget to write that word 2. And then you're writing the letter to the editor of a newspaper company. So editor, there is only one. So it's a proper name. So just don't write to editor, to the editor. Say for example, in our school, there is only one principal. So you cannot write to principal. You have to write to the principal. You're getting it? So to, next line, the editor. Now the editor of which newspaper? Supposing it is not mentioned in the question paper. Now the editor, there are so many newspaper companies in our country, so many. Hindu is there, Indian Express is there, okay, Gujarat Samachar is there, Jansapta is there, Times of India is there, Deccan Herald is there. So many. So you have to mention the name of the newspaper. Say to, next line, the editor, next line, the Times of India, or Navbharat Times, whatever it is. Now, always remember that if you are from Rajkot, then write it to the editor of the Times of India of the Rajkot office. We'll come back to it. So if you are from Ahmedabad, then you have to write to the editor of the Ahmedabad office. So the sender and the receiver must be from the same place. Okay, so you write Times of India, then where? Rajkot, 36000. Okay, you are writing to him for something. So comes the next line comes the subject. Supposing you are staying in Khalawat Road and due to this is rain for a very long time, the roads got eroded, the top layer, and a lot of potholes and all has appeared, and they have got filled up with water, stagnant water, and that has become the breeding grounds for this Anopheles mosquitoes, the carriers of malaria. Also, these potholes are very dangerous at night. Supposing you miss out on it, and if you're on a two-wheeler, you go tuck, and you might fall and you might have injuries, even can result in fatal injuries. So this is a scenario, and you want to write about the road conditions. Now, my dear friends, remember, when you're writing the subject matter, you have to keep one thing in your mind. Do not write a story in the subject matter. Some of us have got a beautiful habit of writing 2-3 lines. That's a very, very wrong way of writing the subject matter. Should not be, number one, the subject matter should not be under no circumstances more than one line. Under no circumstances it should be more than one line. And my dear friends, what we are doing right now is learning a skill. Anybody can write, okay, but this is a skill writing where you need to know and need to develop certain ideas. Then only you can get differentiated from the masses, and you can be called a skilled writer. So try to mention in not more than 3 to 5 words the subject matter. Why? The editor is flooded with letters, emails and all, every day. So much of it. Now if he starts reading each and every letter properly, then he will spend 1 week reading the mails of only 1 day. It's not possible. Even if some beautiful and some very serious, authentic mail is there, it might get skipped out. Not his fault. He's a human being. So normally what they do, they open the mails and all. Nowadays is the era like, well, it's this and mails and all. And it's the subject matter that they read. And with the subject matter, he can read it in a fraction of a second because he has to be very, very quick. What happens? He forwards that mail and the rest he goes on sending it to the trash or some folder for future references. So the subject matter has to be very, very short and simple. Short and simple. We should express everything. You can say worse or awful road conditions. Now, why I'm using a bit negative word awful? I'm not using the word bad or worse. Nothing can be done. Okay, I'm not using that. I'm using the word awful. Okay. Number one, with this ornamental English, the editor of English Daily, they're very good in English. They do their mass communication, journalism, and one of their basic subject is English. So they are masters. And when they come across any ornamental word, if he's the editor of an English daily, obviously in English. If a Gujarati daily, obviously in Gujarati. So in any language, the editors actually have a very good command and hold, and they have mastered that language. So if you use ornamental, it will definitely catch his eyes. Ornamental English. So awful road conditions. You have expressed everything. Okay, let's keep it aside. I would like to go through it. Looks, this man writes very good English. And then comes the salutation after the subject. Now a salutation, my dear friends. Dear sir. Dear, the word dear has become old English. Now we only write, when we are writing a letter to the editor, just sir. That's all. See, when do we use the word dear? Say for example, one of you, my loving students, okay, you write a letter to me. You might write, dear sir, because we know each other. We have been knowing each other for so long. Okay. So if you find me okay, I'm okay with you all. You might use the word dear for me. But you're writing a letter to the editor whom you have never met in your life, and maybe after this you are not even going to interact with him anymore. So the person whom you have never met in your life, how can he become dear to you? So he's an unknown person for you. So as per the modern English, When we are writing a letter to the editor, we only write just sir, that's it. Okay, then comes again the three portions, the three paragraphs. The first is the introduction, middle one is the subject matter, you remember the speech, and then comes the conclusion, and then the subscription, and your matter ends. Now, what are the catch points that you have to keep in mind as far as letter to the editor is concerned? So, first, as you know, in CBSE, we are following the box format. Box format means everything starts from the left-hand margin. Now, it does not mean start from the left-hand margin. You can start from here or here or here. The words should be touching the margin. They should be touching the margin. There should not be any room or gap for any other word to squeeze in. If the gap is there and any word is able to squeeze in between, that means you are going to lose mark. So keep that in mind. You should be touching the margin. And the proper layout and the designing of writing skills fetches you extra marks because it just impresses the examiner. And good handwriting. Good handwriting speaks, someday we'll discuss, volumes about your personality. Volumes about your personality. Okay, how you write, how you shape the words. With that, people can make out everything about you. So remember, good handwriting is good for you. So leave a space and we write the set. Suppose the question says that you stay in 302 Stratford Avenue, Rajkot. Let's take up the same topic. Due to the incessant rains for a very long time, the road conditions of the locality, of your locality, has become very bad. Many people are meeting with injuries, breeding of the mosquitoes. The people in that locality are facing a lot of problems because of this. So you write a letter to the editor of your daily newspaper. Say, that's it. I have not mentioned, you remember two things. Just mention, write a letter to the editor of your daily newspaper. I have not mentioned which newspaper. So you have to mention the name of the newspaper and the address. Secondly, I have mentioned you are facing, I have not mentioned your name. So if the name is not mentioned, it means you are XYZ. Never write your name. It's not right. Just write XYZ. And supposing you say you are, say, Sheena or say Terence. So if the boys are writing, they will write Terence. The girls are writing, they will write Sheena. Okay, so this is a question. So now leave a line and touching the margin, you have to write the sender's address, 302 Stratford Avenue, Rajkot. Okay. Now this is called the sender's address. By the way, this is Stratford Avenue is a very famous place in London. The place where most of you might be aware also. Your William Shakespeare used to stay. It's a very famous place, especially for the students of English literature. Leave a line and then write on the date. So today is, say, supposing 9th of October. Write on the date. Leave a line and then you have to mention the receiver's address. So first comes to, then the editor. Nothing has been mentioned, so write that the Times of India, Rajkot. Correct. So far so good. This is called the receiver's address. Now you see, any PIN code contains only 6 digits. Just 6 digits. So my dear friends, postal index number, PIN code, PIN, postal index code. I'll be very happy. I'm sure most of you are already aware of the why it contains only 6 digits and what the each and every digit actually is a code. PIN code, it's a code. Every digit is a code. So if you can just Google it down and have a look at it, you'll be very surprised to know that if you write the PIN code for the postman, it's very easy. 36, oh, this is Rajkot. What? Oh, 360, this is Rajkot city. 00, oh, 1 means Rajkumar College. So every code has got every digit has got a code. Correct? So it's just 6 digits. So you know that RKC has the PIN code of 360001. You can just mention 360010. Or if you don't remember anything, just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just the format that way. Okay, so once this is done, then comes your great salutation part. As I told you, only sir. This is known as salutation. Sorry. Salutation. Right. Leave a line again. You know, like in box format, every time you have to leave a line because we don't leave any space from the margin. So it becomes very difficult to make out whether you have changed the paragraph or not, or the field. So when you break a line, leave a line, it indicates that it's the next field or the next paragraph. Now you have to write the subject matter. I've already discussed with you subject matter. Awful road conditions. Awful road conditions. Leave a line and you start from. So the first paragraph is this is the first paragraph. And it's called the introduction. So far so good? Okay. So what we do. So if so far is so good, then later on I will just rub off and go ahead with the second and third paragraph and the subscription. Now, my dear friends, you have to remember one thing. Whenever you are writing a letter, you must understand to whom you are writing a letter. Supposing you are writing a letter to your parents, or to your best friend, or to your teacher, as you are very affectionate and dear to us, no matter what you write, we will love each and every word of it. And we will have the patience and we will go and we will read everything. We will leave everything, but we will pay attention to your letter because you are dear to us. But supposing you are writing to a person who has never met you in his life, and human psychology. Sometimes when people feel, oh, it's a duty for them, they feel very, very, often. I have used the word often under conditions. So, they are not in a good mood, the editors and all, when they are receiving letters and all. Correct? So, the introduction has to be very short, simple, so that, because the editor is only interested, he has read your subject matter, awful road conditions. Now, he is only interested in reading the subject matter. He is least interested in your conclusions or your introductions. Where do you find awful road? Where do you go through the subject matter so that he gets to know everything about it? Okay. So, when you are writing the letter in the introduction, you must try to praise the newspaper. I would, with reference to the above subject matter, I would like to draw your kind attention towards the problems that we are facing in our locality. Full stop. I'm sure an article from your esteemed newspaper will catch the attention of many. So I use the word an article from your esteemed means very highly respected, regarded. So the editor feels, oh my God, it's very esteemed and all, and feels very happy. Let me know, his English is good, I must read and all. Basically, you have touched the super ego of this man's psychology, human psychology. You have praised him, he's motivated to do that. You have won your battle. Now comes the second paragraph. Second paragraph, as you know, it has to be descriptive. We are staying in, say, Stratford Avon, and because of the heavy rains, the top layer of the road has become eroded. Now, lot many potholes have appeared, and the rainwater are still there, stagnant, stinking, breeding ground for the Anopheles mosquitoes spreading malaria in our society. And the potholes are resulting in lot many accidents. We have tried to bring this to the kind attention of the concerned authorities, but so far a couple of months have passed, but unfortunately no one has taken any care to repair the roads. We are really worried in our locality, number one, because of it, the mosquitoes, and secondly, we are scared that one day some fatal accident might take place and we might lose someone very dear to us from our society because of the awful road conditions. So you have described, you have given the location, then you have to go to the third paragraph, that is the conclusion. Now, some of us make one mistake and we write in the concluding paragraph, I kindly request you to look into this matter and do the needful at the earliest. Please, my dear friend, it's a big cross. He is just an editor. He is not a municipal commissioner. He doesn't have any authority or any this thing, He is not Udumong that he should leave his chair and go and repair the roads for you. Okay, so please don't write that. I kindly request you to look into the matter and see to it that it is resolved at the earliest. Please, no. You have to write, I kindly request you, you have to request him in proper English, I kindly request you to publish this article of mine in your esteemed organization so as to bring awareness among the authorities. You got it? So what happens, whatever you have sent it in the form of a letter, the subject matter will get published in the form of an article in the newspaper, and in the morning with a cup of tea, the whole of Rajkot will be reading, maybe your municipal commissioner. Everybody reads the newspaper early in the morning because after that they get busy with their daily affairs, So they didn't get the time to catch up with them. Maybe at night only they get the time to catch up. But it's too late, and next morning when you get up, you forget what you read yesterday. And you catch up with the fresh news next day. So normally what happens, the people who are very busy, they read the newspaper. Say before 7 o'clock they finish reading the newspaper. So when this article gets published in the newspaper, people will read, including the authorities, concerned authorities, the higher authorities, the collector will read, the municipal commissioner will read, and immediately a person will be sent, dispatched, a team will be dispatched for inspection, and the work will start in full swing. Okay? So, my dear friends, when you're writing a letter to the editor, you are basically requesting him to publish your article in his esteemed newspaper. So please, the concluding should be, I kindly request you to publish my article in your esteemed newspaper. Why? So as to bring awareness among the masses or among the people. That's it. And then after that comes the subscription part. Now in the subscription part, you are finished with the conclusion. The conclusion is over. You remember a speech we did and we wrote, after we have finished, we did thank you to the audience. Now, my dear friends, here also, an unknown person, you have written a letter to an unknown person, the editor of a daily newspaper. He doesn't know you, you don't know. But this unknown gentleman has taken the pain of going through your letter. So, as a form of etiquette, we have to thank him. So, we write, leave a line after the conclusion. Thanking you And then no name is given, X, Y, Z. Now, my dear friends, this you can copy paste, that whenever you are writing a letter to the editor, it has to be only yours truly and nothing else. Only yours truly. That's it. Why? Why we don't write sincerely? Why we don't write affectionately? Why we don't write lovingly? See, whenever you add this S, make it plural, your becomes yours. The word true becomes truly. There's no such word as your true, your loving. There's no such words. So it's better you write yours. The moment you make it plural, this becomes a Chinese person, Li. You have to add ly. Li is a Chinese person, So the moment this word becomes a plural, this becomes a Chinese. So yours truly. You do not know him, the editor. The editor does not know him. So when you write truly, it means you are self. You are self-certifying that whatever I have written, the top, is true and correct to the best of your knowledge. Later in your life, when you fill in the forms for your, say, colleges or universities or for any other things now onwards, you'll be getting a form. At the bottom of that form, it will be mentioned, I hereby declare or I hereby certify that whatever has been mentioned above and whatever the informations have been or the data have been furnished above is true to the best of my knowledge. Correct? So, see, because the university people, they don't know you, the college people, they don't know you, who will take admission on. So, they have to believe whatever you have written and you need to certify. And after, later on, if you get admission and you make any mistake in your information, giving the information part, you'll get thrown out. So, you have to be very careful. So, similarly here, yours truly we write because we are certifying ourselves, self-certifying that whatever I've written at the top is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Now, why? Now, this gentleman, the editor, is running a very successful newspaper company. Very successful. TRP is very high. Now, supposing somebody can also play a prank. One of you write a letter to him. The entire road has got flooded with water because the pipeline, somebody has damaged the pipeline and the water is flowing. The whole gang, the people, the plumbers and all, they rush to repair it. And what they find over there? Nothing of that sort. Somebody has played a prank. So, you see, whatever you are writing, obviously, the editor from his own side, he'll be sending his team to first confirm that whatever you have written is correct. Then only after getting the confirmation from his team, he will publish it in his newspaper. Others will make a mock of himself if somebody has played a prank. So now you understand why the sender and the receiver has to be from the same place. If supposing you are from Rajkot and you are written to the person in Ahmedabad office, now what will this Ahmedabad office will do? He's too busy sending his team to find out about what is the conditions of the authenticity of the letters that they receive from Ahmedabad. He won't have any spare team member or time to come to Rajkot and confirm the authenticity. So that is why, number one, the sender and the receiver has to be from the same place. Authenticity can be checked. Number two, we write truly so that he can rest assured that whatever we have sent, though he will confirm, a professional will always confirm, he will not believe anyone. Because by mistake, if anybody has played a prank, his entire things will go topsy-turvy. So that is why we write. So now, my dear friends, normally letter to the editor is also from 100 to 120 words. Okay. So the introduction, if you look at it, should not contain more than 20 words. Conclusion, not more than 20 words. And the subject matter, if you look at it, should have about 75 to 80 words. That will make 120 words. So go through it, go through the sample paper that I've given, go through the class lecture. Any doubt, get back to me. Thank you very, very much, my dear friends.